वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सगरजातं सगं रघुनाथान्वितं तं साजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णापादं सगं ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरा भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So today's verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, verse number 24. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Before I read the verse, let me glorify Srimad Bhagavatam. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudire shrinatam swakatha krishna punishana kirtana hirdayanstvaya bhadrani vidnoti switsatam nashprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavate bhagavatam shloke bhaktir bhakti nashtiki yat kirtanam yat shravanam yadikshanam yadvandanam yad smaranam yadarhanam लोकस्य सद्यो विधनोति कल्मषं तस्मै शिवत्रे शवसे नमो नमः. So now verse number 24. Ishtvanam yagnihiryam yagnahi pushkal dakshinahi bhuktva cheshisha satya ante mam samsamrishyasi. Ishtva mam yagnihiryam यज्ञहि पुष्कल दक्षिणहि भुक्त्वा चेशिषा सत्या अन्ते मां संस्पृशसि. इष्ट्वा मां यज्ञहृदयं यज्ञहि पुष्कल दक्षिणहि भुक्त्वा चेशिषा सत्या अन्ते मां संस्मृश्यसि. यज्ञहृदयं यज्ञहि पुष्कल दक्षिणहि अन्ते मां संस्मृश्यसि. इष्ट्वा मां यज्ञहृदयं यज्ञहि पुष्कल दक्षिणहि भुक्त्वा चेशिषा सत्या अन्ते मां संस्मृश्यसि. इष्ट्वा मां यज्ञहृदयं यज्ञहि पुष्कल दक्षिणहि भुक्ता चेहा शिशा सत्या अन्ते मां समसमेष्यसि. Mataji, would like to Ishvamam Yagnihirdam Yagnahi Pushkal Dakshinahi Bhuktva Chesha Shisa Satya Ante Mam Samsarishyasi. Ishvamam Yagnihirdam Yagnahi Pushkal Dakshinahi Bhuktva Cheha Shisha Satya Ante Mam Samsarishyasi. What were translation? Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What were translation? Ishtva, after worshipping Ma, me, Yagnhidyam, the heart of all sacrifices, Yagnahi, by great sacrifices, Pushkal Dakshinahi, comprehending distribution of great charities, Bhuktva, after enjoying, Cha also, Iha, within this world, Ashisha, blessings, Satya, truth, Ante, at the end, Mam, me, Samrishyasi, you will be able to remember. Translation. The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember me. Purport. The most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instruction regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of life. Ante Narayan Smriti. The result of whatever we do in executing spiritual activities is successful if we can remember Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This program of constant remembrance can be disturbed by many things, but Dhruv Maharaj's life would be so pure, as assured by the Lord himself, that Dhruv would never forget him. Thus, at the time of his death, he would remember the Supreme Lord, and before his death, he would enjoy this material world, not by sense gratification, but by performing great sacrifices. As stated in the Vedas, when one performs great sacrifices, he must give charity, not only to the Brahmanas, but also to the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. It is assured that the Dhruv Maharaj would be able to perform such activities. In this age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is the performance of Sankirtan Yagna. Our Krishna conscious movement is designed to teach people and to learn ourselves the exact instructions of the personality of Godhead. In this way, we shall continuously perform the Sankirtan Yagna and continuously chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Then at the end of our life, we shall certainly be able to remember Krishna, and our program of life will be successful. In this way, distribution of prasadam has replaced distribution of money. No one has sufficient money to distribute, but we distribute Krishna prasad as far as possible. This is more valuable than the distribution of money. Hukum karoti vachalam pramilangayate gnim yatkirpatam aham vande Shri Guru Din Tar. As we heard, this verse is spoken by the Lord himself, Lord Vishnu. And before we look into the purport or translation any further, let's have a look at the background under which this verse was spoken. This chapter relates to Dhruv Maharaj. Coming in the family lineage of Swayambhava Manu, Dhruv Maharaj, when he was tormented by the harsh words of his stepmother Surichi, and on the other hand, he was Encouraged and supported by his own mother Sumiti, he decided to look for the Supreme Personality of Godhead by performing devotional service. Dhruv Maharaj, because he was tormented by the words of his stepmother, he wanted a position more exalted than anyone has achieved in 3 worlds, including his great grandfather Brahma. Knowing this, that Dhruv Maharaj is about to perform devotional service, Narad Muni went to see him. Actually, Narad Muni first prevented him from doing this devotional service and perform austerities because Narad Muni wanted to check Dhruv Maharaj's determination. When Narad Muni was satisfied about the determination of Dhruv Maharaj, Narad Muni gave information on the process of devotional service, on the object of the devotional service, that is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and also on the features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Narad Muni also gave information where to perform such austerities, which is the most auspicious place. Narad Muni gave information that you go to Madhuvan near Yamuna. Madhuvan, as we all know, is in Vrindavan, and advised Dhruv Maharaj to perform his austerities, tapasya there. Narad Muni also, in a way, initiated Dhruv Maharaj into devotional service, and he advised him which mantra to chant. And the mantra is 12-syllable mantra, which we have just chanted. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Then Dhruv Maharaj left his father's palace and went to Madhuvan. He started performing austerities. His austerities are unimaginable considering the age we are living into. I'll just give a glimpse of what he did. In the first month, he ate only fruit and berries, that too after every third day. And in the second month, he ate dry grass after every 6th day. In the third month, he drank only water after every 9th day. In the 4th month, he inhaled only after every 12th day. And in the 5th month, he stood only on one leg and started meditating on the beautiful form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he started standing on the one leg, it choked the universal breathing because he became one in heaviness with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He closed all the gates of his body, Navdware, 9 gates. And by doing so, he created a kind of disturbance in the universal breathing. Disturbed by this, demigods went to the Supreme Personality of Godhead looking for some solution. When they went to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Vishnu assured him that don't worry, I know the cause of it and I will address this cause also. I will stop Dhruv Maharaj from performing such severe austerities. Then Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Vishnu, summoned his carrier, Garuda, and they immediately went to Madhuvan, where Dhruv Maharaj was performing his austerities. Reaching there, Lord observed that Dhruv Maharaj is meditating on his form, and he is meditating so intensely that he did not notice the arrival of the Lord. Lord felt that if he continues, he won't be able to open his eyes. So by the potency of the Supreme Lord, Dhruv Maharaj opened his eyes. In fact, he was disturbed when he found that the form of the Lord within his heart, on which he was meditating, has disappeared. He was very much disturbed, unhappy. And when he opened his eyes, he saw a Lord in front of him. And he was very jubilant. And out of ecstasy, he first paid obeisances by falling flat, did Dandavat. Dandavat means, Dand means rod, and if it is left alone, it will just fall. So what is like? What means like? So he just felt flat like a rod. He did Dandavat, and then he wanted to offer prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he could not do so because he was inexperienced as well as he was just a child of 5 years old. So when Lord sensed this, that he wants to offer prayer, Lord touched his conch shell to the forehead of Dhruv Maharaj. And after that, Dhruv Maharaj offered very beautiful prayers listed in verse number 6 to 70. These are 12 prayers. And my Guru Maharaj says that these are just like 12 Adityas. Adityas mean 12 Adityas are names of sun god, different names, like Vishnu, Vivaswan, Surya, etc. Why these verses are called Adityas? Because they illuminate on the features of Supreme Personality of Godhead, as well as also gives information on his potencies. When Dhruv Maharaj finished his prayers, Lord started giving response. Lord said, I know what is in your heart. I know what you want. And I also know that it's very hard to fulfill. It's very hard to fulfill your desire. Yet, I will bestow you a place called Pole Star or Dhruv Loka. There, this Pole Star will not be dissolved even at the time of dissolution. And then Lord gave some further information on the situation of Pole Star. It is surrounded by many other planets which are inhabited by great sages. Lord also gave information that very shortly, your elder brother Uttam and your mother Suichi will die in the forest, and your father, when he leaves kingdom, you will rule this entire world, and you will live a life of 36,000 years. But life of 36,000 not for sense gratification, but for performing severe austerities, yajnas, and giving charities. So in continuation of this situation, Lord spoke this word, Ishtvamam Yagnhidyam, Yagnai Pushkal Dakshinai. Now, in considering this background and Lord's further response to Dhruv Maharaj's prayer, this verse says in the beginning, Ishtva Mam Yagna Hirdam. Ishtva means worship. Yagna Hirdam, Yagna means austerity, and you consider me that I am heart of all yagnas, all sacrifices. Yagna means sacrifices, not austerity. So you consider me as heart of all sacrifices. This reminds us the verse spoken by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, last verse of chapter 5. Bhoktaram yagna tapsam sarvalok maheshwaram suhrit sarv bhutanam yatva mam shanti rachati. Lord says, you will attain peace by knowing three things. And those three things are Bhoktaram Yad Tapsam. I am supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices and austerities. Yad Tapsam. And then second, Sarv Lok Maheshwaram. I am controller of all the planetary systems. Sarv, all, Lok means planetary system. Maheshwaram. Ish means control or Ishwar means controller. I am the chief controller of all the planetary systems. That's what Lord says. And third thing, Suhit Sarv Bhutanam. I am well-wisher and beneficial friend of all the living beings. Now remember the word here is Suhit Sarv Bhutanam. Bhutanam. Bhutanam means all living beings. It's not saying all Pushana. All the living beings. By knowing these three things, you will attain peace. There are many organizations who are making efforts to ensure that the world remains in peace. But probably they are not following the instruction given in Bhagavad Gita. You will attain peace only if you know these three things. That who is the supreme enjoyer, who is the controller of all the planetary systems, and who is the Suhit, or beneficial friend of all the living beings. On the other hand, if someone doesn't know that these three things, and what is his situation, then Krishna gives reply in chapter 9, verse number 24. Aham sarva yajnanam bhukta cha prabhurev cha nam tumam abhijanati tat nataschavanti. Chavanti means you will fall down. If you do not know that aham sarva yajnanam, I am supreme enjoyer of all the sacrifices, and I am also Prabhureksha. I am master of all sacrifices. Natu Baba Vijanananti Tatu Natash Chavantite. If you do not know in reality, Tat means in reality, then you will fall down. So this is the position of the supreme enjoyer. Now let's look at the first sentence of the purport Srila Prabhupada has kindly written. Srila Prabhupada writes, the most important factor in this verse is the Lord's instruction regarding how to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead at the end of the life. The same issue has been dealt in Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna in chapter 8. When Arjuna asked 7 questions in the first 2 verses, Lord started giving reply. And the last question is related to this only. At the end of life, who should be remembered and how should be remembered? First, Arjuna says, Adi yagna katham ko atra desmin madhusudan. Priyana kale cha katham vyausi ye tatvidhi. Priyana kale means at the end of life. How? Priyana kale cha katham, how? At the end of life, vyausi. How to know you, as in you. By whom? Niyatatvi. By people who are constantly engaged in your devotional service. And then in the first part of the verse, Arjuna also asked, Adi yagna katham ko atra. Who is Lord of sacrifices? Desin Madhusudan, who is living within the heart of the bodies. Then Krishna starts giving reply. I'll skip with other questions and answers because our focus of point is how to live, how to remember at the time of leaving the body. Then Krishna, as I said, replies, Antakale samameva smarna muktva kalevaram ya priyati samadbhavam yati naste atar samshaya. Krishna says, at the time of leaving the body, when you are leaving the body, smarna muktva kalevaram. Smart means remember. Mukta means when you're giving up. Kalevaram means body. Smarna muktva kalevaram. Ya priyati samadbhavam. you will achieve my bhav. Bhav is my nature. And naste atra samshaya. There is no doubt about it. Krishna says, there is no doubt about it that at the time of leaving body, if you remember me, you will achieve my nature. And what is my nature? Let's say Arjun asked, though he didn't. Then Krishna, we know the answer. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. So Krishna's nature is Satchidananda Vigraha. Satchit Anand. He is eternal, he is full of knowledge, and is always blissful. So if we want to be in this position, then we have to remember him at the time of leaving our body. Let's say Arjun further asked, though he didn't, um, what about other forms of life which come up, which we see? Some birds are taking as birds, some beasts, some aquatics, some trees. So how do they come? Krishna answers. Yam yam vapi smrana bhavam tajante ante kalevram tam tam niveti kunteya sada tad bhavita. So there is some connection of this verse with the previous verse. That if you do not remember, then whatever you remember, you will attain that kind of bhav. For example, if we have a pet at our home and we are too much focused on him, so at the time of leaving the body, we are likely to remember that pet or maybe some household family member, maybe wife, maybe children, maybe someone else, and then you are likely to attain that kind of bhav. So this is, and then Krishna is explaining how other lives come. Yam yam api swad bhavam tejante ante kalevram tam tam eveti kunteya sadat bhavita. Okay, Arjun says, we are satisfied with your answer. Now, how to remember it? Then Krishna answers, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmari yuddhacha vai arpit manobuddhir mam vishasi asamshaya. So Krishna has used words samshaya and asamshaya in the sense of saying that there is no doubt. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. Therefore, tasmat is therefore, in all times, while fighting, Mam and Sunari Yuddhacha, Yuddha, you're fighting. When you're fighting, just remember. Now, someone may say that Arjuna was having a battle, maybe this instruction is only meant for him. But actually, this instruction is meant for all of us. Because we in this material world are struggling for our survival every day. Arjuna had to fight only for 18 days. But for us, it is a survival of existence every day. So this instruction is more meant for us. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mahamanaswar yuddhacha mayarpit manobuddhir, and offer your mind and intelligence to me. And then you will come to me, there is no doubt about it. Let's say that Arjuna further asks, but how to do it? Is it so easy that I can remember you all the time? It's very hard because I have so many other things to remember. I have to take care of my job, my boss, my wife, my children, all that. They stand priority than you. Let's assume, though again Krishna, Arjuna didn't say. Then Lord says, Abhyas yoge yukten chesa nanya gamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthan chintayam. Abhyas, do practice. And that's what, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we all in ISKCON are doing. We are doing abhyas, we are doing practice of remembering Krishna by chanting, by engaging in various kind of devotional services. We are engaged mercifully in the service of the Lord so that at the time of leaving the body, we can remember Him. But then again, there may be a question, is it sure that by doing practice, we will be able to remember you? So here comes our Acharya, dear Acharya, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Chakravarti Pad says Tasmat smaranam bhyasasin evant kale swata ev mat smaranam bhakti. If you practice remembrance of Lord at the time of leaving body, the remembrance of the Lord will come automatically. Swata. Swata means automatically, on its own. So you won't have to make any other effort. Another thing which is interesting to know is that Krishna has said smaranam. He has emphasized on smaranam. Why is not said on shravanam or ikshanam, seeing or hearing? Because at the time of leaving the body, our other sense organs will start failing one by one. The only sense which will help us is memory. So therefore, Krishna is saying, Antkale samamave smaranamukta kalevam. Then, is there any other simple process? Yes, there is another simple process. I came across a very nice verse recently, and this was from 11th canto, and the verse is Kayena vacha manasendriyeva buddhyat bana vanusrat sabhavat karoti yat yat sakalam parasmai narayaneti samarpayet. It's a very famous verse. I'm sure everyone has heard or know about this verse. This verse is spoken by one of the Navyogendras, Kaviji, in response to a question raised by Nimi Maharaj. Nimi Maharaj asked, what is the Atyantikam Shemam? What is the ultimate good for human beings? Then Kaviji responded in this verse, Kayena vacha manasendriyeva buddhyat manas vanusrat sabhavat karoti yat yad sakalam parasmai narayaneti samarpayet. Samarpayet. Whatever one does, either by kayan, body, vacha, speech, manasa, mind, indriyeva, or by senses, buddhyatma, or by intelligence, vanusat sabhava, following his own nature, karoti, whatever you do, offer it to the Supreme Lord and say, please accept it. Whatever you do by these acts, you offer it to the Lord, and this will ensure that you will attain Supreme Personality of God. I am reluctantly sharing that every night I offer prayer to, before going to bed, I offer prayer to the Lord saying that whatever good or bad things I have done today, I offer it to you. So you do whatever you like. Somebody may say that, why you offer bad things? Because of course, I do some bad things also during the day by habit, and habits die hard. So that Lord can utilize the effect of bad things. I'm a bit selfish on that. So this is the situation that whatever we do, we should offer it to Lord Krishna. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Please offer it, if you like. Then we look at another aspect of this verse. Srila Prabhupada in the purport has emphasized the performance of yajna and charity. The word charity is, of course, translated word dhan, which is Sanskrit or Hindi word. But the word charity, in fact, does not fully convey the meaning of word dhan. If we look at the English dictionary, the word charity by various dictionaries is defined as an act or a help voluntarily given to a person who is in need. That is the definition. But on the other hand, and then there, with the word charity, there is no further concept or philosophy attached. But the word dan has entire philosophy behind it. The word dan, first of all, is glorified in the Vedic literature. Secondly, in the process of giving dan, let me call it charity or dan, it's same thing for understanding the implication of dan. In the process of giving dan, the giver and taker both are benefited. For instance, when we look strictly from the academic point of view, the meaning of charity, it looks like that only the receiver is benefited. But in the case of dan, giver is also benefited. Giver earns piety as well as religiosity. And without piety, you cannot perform devotional service. Why? Lord says, Chaturvidha Bhakti Jana Sukirtino Arjuna. Unless one has earned some piety, he cannot come into devotional service. Piety in the past lives. Or in the present life, if there is any Mahat Kripa or extreme mercy by a saintly person like Srila Prabhupada, then it is possible to come in the devotional service. But in fact, when I came across this verse, Chaturvidha Bhaktimam Jana Sukito Arjun, Ato Jigasuratharati Jnani Chagadhashma. 4 type of people come to Krishna. But how I used to reflect on myself, then why I have come to Krishna consciousness? I'm not done anything good. But then after a long time, I got to know the answer from these words. Jana Supiritino Arjun. Maybe unknowingly I've done something in my past life. That's why I'm into Krishna consciousness. Anyway, so we were talking about the features of Dan. And Dan is a charity is also given by people who are born with divine qualities. Who says? Krishna says. Krishna says in 16th chapter, first word. Abhyam Sattvam Samshuddhir Gyan Yoga Vyavasthiti Danas Damascha Yagnascha Swadhayattam Arjuna. In the first 2.5 verses, Krishna has enlisted the qualities of people who are born with with divinity, or who are born with divine qualities. Therefore, it says in the last last part of the verse, third last part of the third verse, Bhavanti Sampadam Devim Avijatasya Bhava. So if someone is giving charity or daন, that means he has divine qualities. So this we can understand. And then in what way it returns. So there is a verse written by Chanakya Pandit. I'll read out. Arteshu vipreshu dayanvitascha yachadaya swalpam upeti danam anantam param sampeti rajan yaddiyate tannalabhe tvijebhya. The translation of this verse, part translation of this verse, is that charity offered to a Brahmana is not returned in equal quantity, but in an infinitely higher degree. So therefore, Dan is glorified in our Vedic literature. In Bhagavad Gita, Dan is classified into 3 parts or 3 types. In mode of goodness, in mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. Let's have a look at these 3 verses. In the case of mode of goodness, the verse is Dattavyamiti yam danam dite upakarane deshe kale cha patre cha tat danam satvikam sumtam. A dan or a charity given dite nupakarane without any expectation of return and at the right time and at the right place. That dan is considered as dan in the mode of goodness. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport that dan or the charity should be given by each and every householder. Of course, brahmacharis are exempted. But householder must give dan. Srila Prabhupada has also stipulated the minimum amount, that is 50% of their income. First of all, Srila Prabhupada says that you must earn by all honest and fair means. And after earning, you must give 50% of your earning to the right candidates. And somebody had clarified on this 50%. 50% means whatever you earn, and after meeting your mortgage and expenses, then whatever you left of that 50% you give. I don't know how far that is right or not. But if we purely think of 50%, probably majority of us cannot pay our mortgage. So therefore, somebody may have interpreted in the way which is favorable to all of us. So now, it reminds me of a very nice incident. In our community, there is a Mataji who has some mental problem, as she herself said in one of the offerings to Srila Prabhupada on appearance day of Srila Prabhupada. She gave a certain amount, I got to know from a reliable source. And she gave a certain amount of money to a person who was in charge, to a devotee who was in charge of Gosha. And she gave as a donation for a cow, because Vedic literature giving charity of cow is very much appreciated. It's called Godan. There's a famous novel also in Hindi. And then after giving that a certain amount of money, after a few days, she needed some milk of a cow. And she approached that devotee who was in charge of the Gosha, and who happily gave her milk from the cow. And then she offered money for the cost of the milk. The devotee who was running Goshala, he said, why are you giving money? You already gave such huge money. But she, even though she said that she's mentally not so right, but I think she had the perfect mental situation, because she said, no, I've given the money as a dan. I cannot take it back from them. So that is a dan in mode of, that is a charity in mode of goodness. And that will definitely earn piety. So the next verse in the dan is Yattu pratupkartam phalam udishya vabuna diyete cha pariklishtam tat danam rajsam svitam. Yattu pratupkartam. The dan with the charity which is given with the expectation that I'll also be enriched by some means. And yattu prato diyete cha pariklishtam, and giving grudgingly. Oh, again he has come to take charity from me for the temple. Sometimes some of our devotees are engaged in collecting Lakshmi from others, and sometimes there is a reaction, oh, again he has come. So even when they give, that is considered as dan given in grudgingly. That is not appreciated. That is dan in mode of ignorance. And then last is dan or charity in mode of ignorance. Adesh kale cha yat danam dite cha Adesh kale cha yat danam dite cha. No, I'm forgetting. Adesh kale cha yat danam dite cha. I'll have to look for it. Anyway, that ban is considered, which is given at the wrong place to the wrong candidate. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport that dan should be given at the places like Vrindavan or Mayapur, dhams. But it should not be given whimsically to anyone and indiscriminately to anyone and everyone. Otherwise, it does not earn any piety. For example, if you give some money to a drunkard who is in need, who is a beggar, then maybe it's a good, out of compassion, you give something, but it will not return any good for you. Adesh kale cha yattanam apatre bheja diyete. Adesh kale cha yattanam apatre bheja diyete. Again, I'm forgetting. Anyway, so this is the situation of charity, which Prabhupada has mentioned how we should give. And then we now look at the last part of the verse, last part of the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentions that in this age of Kali, however, the great sacrifice is the performance of Sankirtan Yagna. On Sankirtan Yagna, let us first pay our gratitude to Panch Tattva. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Dvaita Chanda Jai Gaur Bhakta. Who is the inaugurator of Sankirtan movement in this age of Kali? It is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And who says? Shastra says. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, again in response to question by Nini Maharaj, Garbhajanji, one of the Navyogena, he responds, and it is all a very famous verse, everyone knows about it, I'm sure about it. Krishna Varnam Tushar Krishnam Sangopangastra Pashidam Yagnahi Kirtan Sankirtanam Pyare Jajanti Hi Sumedasa Yajanti hi sumedsa. The act of worship is done by sumedsa. Su means very beautiful. Medsa, intelligence. The one who has got very beautiful intelligence, they are worshipping whom? Krishna Varnam. Tusha Akrishnam, whose Krishna Varnam is repeatedly chanting Krishna's holy name. And whose body luster, Tusha, is Akrishna. Krishna's body luster is black or bluish, but Gaurhari's luster is golden. Krishna Varnam Kisha Krishnam, Sangopang Astra Parshidam. He has appeared in this world with his associates, with his servitors, with his weapons, and with his confidential associates. And what is doing? Yagnai Sankirtan Praya, always chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It reminds me of an interesting incident. Once a Mataji approached Srila Prabhupada. And she asked, Srila Prabhupada, I have heard that Vedic literature says that women are less intelligent. And some devotees also confirm this. They keep on repeatedly saying that females are less intelligent, Istris are less intelligent. She asked, is it true? Srila Prabhupada, in his royal style, yes, it is true. Mataji was a little disturbed. Then Mataji said, does it mean that I am not intelligent? Srila Prabhupada said, no, you are most intelligent. Because you are a devotee. And then Srila Prabhupada quoted this verse, Krishnavarnam Tushar Krishnam Sangapangasa Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtan Pray Jajanti Hisu Medsa. Srila Prabhupada said, how can Shastra say something wrong? Anyone who is chanting, male or female, he is very intelligent. He has very beautiful medsa, brain. So Srila Prabhupada made a kind of a dramatic statement first and now, and I was like, yes, you are very intelligent. So why Sankirtan or chanting of the holy name is so powerful? It is said in 6th canto, Agyanat Athva Gyanat Uttam Shalok Nam Yat Sankirtitam Agham Pumso Sankirtitam Agham Pumso Dehet Eto Yathanala. The chanting of the holy name is so powerful if it is chanted Agyanat, out of ignorance, or with knowledge, Jnana. Uttam Shalok Nam Yat, the name of the Supreme Lord. Sankirtitam Agham Pumso, it destroys all the sins acquired during various lives, innumerable lives, like Yathanala. Edo Dehed Etho Yadhanala. Dehed Etho Yathanala. Like dry grass, if it is put to fire, it immediately burns out. So similarly, holy name, if chanted only once, it burns all the offenselessly. If chanted offenselessly, it burns all the sins acquired by us in the previous lives. If it was not so, then why Shukdev Swami, after speaking 18,000 verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, would say the last verse, Nam Sankirtan Yasya, Sarv Pap Pranashman, Pranamo Dukh Shamlas, Tam Namami Param Hari, or Tam Namami Hari Param. Nam Sankirtan Yasya, just by chanting congregationally, name of the Supreme Lord, it destroys all the sins. Pranamo Dukh Shamanas, and it abolishes all miseries. Tam Namami Harim Param. To that Supreme Lord, I offer my humble obeisances. But the final word on Sankirtan comes again from the personality who initiated the Sankirtan movement in Kali Yuga. Then none other than Lord Chaitanya. In a conversation with the Sanatan Goswami, first establishing the process of the 9 process devotional service, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. First, Lord said that this is the best process for achieving Krishna Prem. Then finally, in the next verse, Lord says, Tar Madhya Sarvashresh Nam Sankirtan, Niraprade Nam Lele Paye Prem Dhan. Among all the processes, the Sankirtan is the best. And Niraprade Nam Lele. Chant offenselessly, and you will get Krishna Prem Dhan. So this brings me to the end of this talk. I will end it with the prayer. If you like, you can recite after me, or you can just hear. This is a verse from first canto, spoken by Bhishma Pitama. Tribhuvan kamanam tamal varanam, Tribhuvan kamanam tamal varanam, Ravikar gaur varambaram dadane, Ravikar gaur varambaram dadane, Vapu al kulavita nanacham. Vapu Vapu al kulavita nanacham. Vijay sakhe ratirastu me navadya. Vijay sakhe ratirastu me navadya. Vijay Sakhe. Vijay is now name of Arjun. Sakhe means friend. Who is friend of Arjuna? Lord Krishna. To that Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, may my all attention be drawn at his lotus feet, Navadya, uninterrupted, without any other consideration. Who is like Tribhuvan Kamanam. He is desired. Kamanam means desirable. He is desirable in all the three worlds. And he has a body luster like Kamal Varanam. His body luster is like bluish. Ravikar Gaur Varambaram Dadane. And he is wearing cloths which are like yellow like morning sun rays. Ravikar Gaur Dadambaram Varambaram Dadame. Vapu Alak. His body is decorated with chandan. What is chandan? Sandalwood. Sorry, sandalwood, and he Nabjam. His eyes, Anand are just like lotus feet. So to that Supreme Lord, may our attention be always drawn. I'll end it here. If someone has some realization to add or which I have not added, please add that. Otherwise, we'll close it here. I know today is the Dwashi. Everybody is hungry. Any comment or any realization? Yes, Prabhu. Sorry, I'm not able to hear. Yes. Huh. Huh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're saying that a charity first given to a devotee, but they regretted having given. Is that? That is come under mode of passion. Again, Ditecha Pariklishtam. So they giving grudgingly. Of course, they will earn some piety because they are giving to the right candidate. But they are not getting the full benefit of it. They will certainly get benefit, but they will not get the full benefit because they're giving Pariklishtam. Ditecha Pariklishtam. Tadanam Acham Samitam. That's considered the mode of passion. So in the first verse relating to these charities, Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that we must endeavor to give charity in the mode of goodness so that we earn right amount of piety. Does it make sense, Prabhu? Because it's given to the right source. Yeah, given to the right person, his right candidate. So somewhere he is qualified to receive piety. But on the other hand, if he is giving grudgingly, then he is not gaining the full amount of his dues. It doesn't make sense. Thank you. I think there's nothing else. So we'll close it here. Thank you for being here. Hare Krishna.
इसके सनादि अनादि मोहन प्रभु की जय ईश्वर प्रभुपाद की गौर भक्ति शकर पदुर्वेश कृपा सिंधुवेश की जय। Thank you, Prabhu, for giving class. Shalom.